A little bit more about the journey of actually getting the game itself stood up in digital form, and what was your process like on that?
Yeah, it's been honestly, it's been challenging. There's been so many times where we've been like,
I'm Aaron Cardell. Today's guests are a dynamic creative duo pushing the boundaries of playful storytelling. Angela Swain and Mariam Mollaghaffari, the minds behind Silly Little Games. Together, Angela and Mariam are creating playful, human-made puzzle experiences that bring a fresh, charming spin to a classic format. With backgrounds in design and journalism, they launch Silly Little Games to create daily puzzles that feel personal, clever, and delightfully weird. Their work focuses on bringing joy through simplicity, and they're building it all independently. Just two friends turning a fun idea into something people return to every day. Whether you've solved a puzzle on silly little codes or discovered their work elsewhere, Angela and Miriam are creating playful, surprising moments of wordplay that bring joy and curiosity to the everyday. Angela, Miriam, welcome to the show.
thanks for having us.
Thanks, Aaron.
That was such a
That was such a nice intro.
yeah.
We
I
try.
wasn't
We try.
expecting that. That was very sweet.
Oh my
Um,
god.
well, if you've paid attention to the show, you know our hard-hitting first question is what's your favorite game to play? So I'd love to hear from both
We're
of you on
ready
that.
for this one.
Okay.
We did our research. You want to start, Ange?
I'm going to start and I'm going to go friendly games, not on the computer, not on your phone. I'm a big bingo gal. I love a bingo game with my friends. Who doesn't love bingo, right? And I think that a special memory that I have with my family, we used to play spoons, if anybody knows what that is. You've got, it's like musical chairs, right? You've got a deck of cards and you've got one less spoon. Then you have people around the table and you just kind of pass your cards and try and get four. And then it's a race for the spoon in the middle. My family used to play that and we would like run across the yard and end up like wrestling each other for like the last spoon. But I know that those aren't your everyday games, but those are my two answers.
Okay, for me, I think my favorite game, kind of similarly, like nostalgia associated with it, is backgammon. I'm half Iranian, and so grew up playing backgammon with my family, in particular my dad and my grandpa. And now it's become very trendy in Los Angeles where we live. So there's like backgammon clubs and stuff. So it's just a fun, like, I like the strategy, but it's also very accessible. So you can be good, but you can also be terrible, and it's mostly luck. Um, but yeah, backgammon's probably my top favorite. And then I think, as I was thinking about this question, I think my job outside of silly little games is sort of a game. Like it's strategy and problem solving in designing houses, and it's all like taking what the information your client gives you and site parameters, and then it's almost like Tetris. And so I definitely like see my job as like an everyday strategy game, which I think keeps me on my toes. But yeah.
That's fun. Yeah, I've never thought about that similarity between architecture and Tetris, but that's gonna stick. I like it.
It's a lot of, can you get this to fit?
Mariam, you were working on your portable backgammon kit. Did you get that made?
No, no, it's one of the things that's just on the list. But yeah, I was designing, was like, man, I'm tired of lugging around. I have this really beautiful like wooden backgammon board but I play outside of my house often. So I was trying to come up with like a cute, portable, easy to use backgammon kit that's like solves all the problems. Like maybe the pieces are magnetic but it still has to look nice and not cheap and all this stuff. So yeah, not yet done, but on the list. Taking a back seat to silly little codes, that's for sure.
She's always designing something.
Well, hit us up when the Kickstarter launches for that. We'll try to get the word out.
Definitely.
I get the vibe that you guys have been lifelong friends, or just friends for a very long time. Tell me a little bit more about how you met, and maybe some of your endeavors prior to Silly Little Games.
Sure. We don't go back lifelong. We met in our 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Do I say where we met?
I think you have to.
Okay. Well, if anyone is familiar with Portland, Oregon, man, I'm doing this again. Okay. We met outside of a club where women dance provocatively. But in Portland, that's not a weird thing.
That's normal.
Like,
everyone
it's
does
it's an art, it's beautiful. I mean, regardless of where you're at in the world, I believe that, but that's where we met. We went on a sunrise hike together.
Mm-hmm.
So we started at midnight?
Yeah.
And hiked like 5 hours to catch the sunrise with a group of gals. I think there was like 8 of us or something.
Mm-hmm.
But man, Oregon is such a special place. You do stuff like that all the time. Make friends outside of the dance club and then go for a midnight walk in the mountains. That's totally normal.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
And then we became friends in Portland, and then I moved to LA maybe like 6 months before Angela did, like completely separate, like uncoordinated. We just both happened to work brought us down here. And and then we just sort of stayed connected and have become very close and are now business partners. And we've taken, lots of life has happened together all of a sudden.
That's great. And I think we've got a flight attendant and an architect. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
I would say a common theme is we see a lot of diverse interests, but I think this is the first of both of those professions that are getting into game creation. What drew you to that?
Well, I think we both just like having fun. I think that's like the draw. But this came about because we were playing tennis together, and we're just sort of like, I don't even know, like what's a get rich quick scheme or something. Like, I don't know. We were just
That's going really well.
Yeah. We haven't made any money from this, by the way. We are in the red. But we were just like, throwing out silly ideas. And then we were like talking about how we've both like invented games at different, like at parties, like, like, oh, like Angela does this sort of salad bowl style game. And then like, it's a big family hit at the holidays and stuff. And then I've got the it's sort of like telephone that I don't know, you just sort of make it up and then everyone plays along and it's fun for a group. And then we were like, I bet we could, like, how could we make that online? And we were just kind of going back and forth. And then we were coming up with like a bunch of games. And then we remembered actually back in our Portland days of like being out at the bar, and there used to be I forgot which brand of beer it was, but under the bottle caps were these Rebus puzzles. And we used to like buy the bar out just so we could solve the puzzle. There'd be like all these undrinking beers, but we're just like, hyper focused on solving these puzzles. And then Ange she was like, oh yeah, I used to make them like with friends. Like we would just like make these puzzles. And we went home that night. I downloaded Figma, which I had never used before, and started like creating like a layout for what an app could be. And then Angela started making these puzzles. And then the next day we were like, seemed like we could really do this. Like, I don't know. It just sort of came about. But yeah, I think our draw was just, why not? I don't know. What about you? Did I miss something, Ange?
No, I agree. That is exactly what happened. But I think like, I think our backgrounds and our personalities kind of played a major role in this. Like, Mariam is a design whiz. I am mostly words. But yeah, I studied journalism and took a stab at that for a long time. I'm not a desk person. I'm not an office person. So I utilized my degree as much as I could, and then I was over it. Like, I'm truly not an office person. But I do still have, like, I love to read. You know, I don't write as much as I used to, but words have always been something that I have enjoyed. And I don't want to say like it's the only thing I'm good at, but like from a very young age, I was like, I would love to be a writer. I would love to, do something with words and something with language. So it's like, sure, journalism, right? And I was like, I never, ever want to work. I studied advertising specifically. I'm like, I never want to work in an ad firm. That's not what I want to do. So yeah, I steered course and I'm a flight attendant and I love it. And I also have a lot of free time. So this has been such a fun project to be able to, utilize an area that I feel like I'm good at and that I also enjoy and that, I can do on my downtime. So I think between the two of us, it's been easy to build and easy to kind of find our voice and really make this something that we really both enjoy.
How much do you both collaborate on, like, the actual puzzles themselves, or is is one of you driving that primarily, or?
Oh no, it is truly a team effort. I think in the beginning, like as Mariam said, we had this idea and we like played tennis, had this idea, and we just kind of like were walking and talking and kept the ball rolling and sat down and had sushi and we're like, okay, let's just make this. That's actually a funny story of where our logo came from. Our little guy, Fluff, yeah, like he's a pufferfish. We were sitting in the sushi restaurant and like, what's the right word for that? Like a taxidermy pufferfish?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Or paper mache. I don't know if it's real or not, but
I think they're real.
Yeah.
Like the puffed up pufferfish, they're dead. But there's a couple that they have in there and they're wearing little hats. And we were like, we need a cute character. Like we need a guy. And we're like, pufferfish. It's perfect. So that's where Fluff came from.
Yeah.
But sorry, I lost the plot. What was the question? Oh, do we collaborate? Yes, we do. So initially we had this idea and we're like, okay, yeah, absolutely. And then we're like, wait a minute. Okay, there's 365 days in a year and times 2 and times 3. We're like, that's a lot, And we'd been familiar with, of course, like the bottle caps and all the standard Rebus puzzles that you see where it's like, can you solve these 10 Rebus puzzles? And we're like, okay, yes, but can we keep this going and how many thousands of these can we make? So before we got too far ahead of ourselves, we spent a lot of time, a lot of hours, which we still do, actually creating these and scrapping them and redoing them and agreeing or disagreeing. And it's to see us squabble.
Oh, we have a fight
about
dog.
We have this little knit frog. So when we're together in person and we're working on these, which those are my favorite days, it's so much fun. It's our talking frog. So like if one of us is like steamrolling the other, we put it out and we're like, shut up. It actually works really well.
It's helped us get through a lot. But yeah, I would say these puzzles come way more naturally to Angela. She is, like she said, like words are her thing and she's so quick with words. I think my learning curve was a little steeper in terms of like getting into the groove of making the puzzles. But we started doing them. So basically we'll make them on our own. And after the first few, we used to make like all of them like literally sitting next to each other. And then, as Angela said, like when one of us has downtime, we would just blast through like texting each other like, okay, I just made 30, go look at them, and then we would do like we would basically, I think at a certain point we had all the first year we had 365 drafts ready, and
Oh
then we
wow.
got together
Yeah.
and we had like an editing session, which that's
Yeah.
where the frog came out many times. But then we go through every single puzzle and we edit each one, both in terms of like logically, does this make sense? Visually, do we like how it looks? Is it overcrowded? Is it, like scaled appropriately? Like all of that stuff. Because I think we've seen, the AI generated versions of these puzzles and they're just like ugly. And we're like, we want it to be fun and we also want it to look good and we want them to be funny. Like we want it to be like, I remember when we did like um Aretha Franklin is one of ours, and it's just like a wreath and then Benjamin Franklin, and it's like a wreath, a Franklin, and it's like the stuff that makes us laugh is what we're
Yeah.
trying to put out there. Like we don't want to do just like the basic, generic stuff. Like it if it makes us giggle, it's going up, unless it's inappropriate, in which case we're saving those for a different a different endeavor.
For those, we're debating if we want to take a semi Cards Against Humanity angle,
Yeah.
because if you've learned by now, we appreciate all types of humor. So we're like, it's funny to us. There's the Cards Against Humanity demographic out there,
For sure.
So
For sure.
there might be a side quest coming up in the near future, but
That's
don't
great.
quote us on that.
All right.
But yeah, I think somehow like Figma, we found that Figma works amazing, and we found a huge collection of icons, that we've paid for and we're using legally. But I think between those two things, we're like, oh, actually these are like relatively easy and kind of fun to make. So yeah, that's honestly the most fun that we've had, is just building these things together. It's been so funny.
And then we'll send them to each other too, like without the answers, to test each other on them. And there's a real thing to like, because we, some of our bigger frog fights were around like, that's too hard or that's too easy, which is wild in this puzzle realm because it's so subjective. Like even now, ones that we think are like the easiest thing in the world, we'll see on social media, people are like, how did anyone solve this one? This was so hard, I had to give up. And we're like, that one? Like that one was so, like we almost didn't even put it out there because we thought it was so easy. So it's been a good, we use each other to test a lot of these, and we've learned that there is no way to gauge like what's going to be easy for one brain versus another. But I have noticed, and even, my family members that are playing every day and have been since we started, they used to not be able to solve them. And you grow a puzzle brain. It's like a muscle that once you sort of get into the rhythm, like now my parents are solving them in under a minute. And I'm like, wow, you guys used to tell me that this was impossible, So it's pretty cool to watch that growth happen too.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. Yeah, in our friends and family that we were subjecting this to before we launched, I think that's one of the first things that we noticed. Like one thing that really solidified that, like, okay, this is a good idea. I mean, Rebus puzzles are nothing new. They've been around forever. Like the history of Rebus puzzles is actually pretty cool. But yeah, they've been around forever. It's nothing new. We're not we didn't invent the Rebus puzzle. But I don't think there has been, in all the research I've done, I've only ever seen one defunct game that was on desktop. That was basically our exact format. So I could see the bones of it, but no more puzzles were loading. So I was like, I found it. Like I found one, like, okay. And well, since then we must say we have a copycat.
Mm-hmm.
Go us. What do they say? That's the most sincere form of flattery.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, it's hard to say. We're on puzzle 146, and I think they're maybe on like I don't know, 100 or something. So who's to say? Were we building this at the same time? We don't know. Yeah, but the cool thing that we noticed right away is that people were getting better at it, and everybody that we showed to this was like, show me one more. You know, I want to see the next one. Okay, I got that one, so let me see this one. And that's the best way to tell that people are actually interested in this and that someone actually wants to play it. It's like, I want to do it again. Like, where's the next one? So yeah, so that's something that we've been kind of kicking around too, you know, like, how do we release like more than one of these, or like, what's that going to look like? And we'll figure that out, but we're kicking around some ideas at this point. But yeah, I think that's a good indicator that it's actually fun, and people want to do it if they're saying, okay, show me another one. We're like, okay, show you all of them. But yeah, it's nothing new, but I think the format is new and different in the game space, because hundreds and hundreds of games out there. There's so many games out there. But other than this one that came after us, I had yet to see a functioning daily puzzle that's exactly like Silly Little Codes.
Yeah. And I think what you've got, I mean, amongst other things, one of the things you've got going for you is, you know, there are a lot of games, you know, particularly more math or logic games where it's just computer generated, and so those are a lot more easily replicable. They're asked to actually be an editorial and creative aspect to each daily puzzle, and I think those are certainly a lot harder to replicate. So I'm actually surprised. I mean, if it was a copycat, you know, it's just that much more work that they have to do.
It takes time. It takes time for sure. It definitely takes a lot of time. And I think that's what's kind of held us back from, you know, say we wanted to do, you know, more than one a day, or we wanted to do what we deemed like easy and medium and hard. We're like, okay, well, we're making 365 of these for a year, times that by 3. We're like, oh my God, that's like, that would be like our 3 years essentially condensed down into one. You know, while it is limitless because we are creating these ourselves, like we want to make sure that they're quality and they're good and they are, you know, not too niche. Like we have players in the US, of course, but we also have players like all around the world. That's been really fun to see. But like the things that make sense to American puzzle players aren't necessarily going to always make sense to players in the UK, you know, or even in Canada. Like, but that's something that I think any word puzzle creator is going to run into as well. Like, yeah, it makes sense here. Is it regional? Is it nationwide? Is it how niche can we get before it's like, this isn't, I've never heard of that. That's not fun for me.
Yeah. One thing that's big in the UK that's less so here in the US is like cryptic crosswords. Is that something you got into much, or not really?
Tried. They're hard.
And I keep thinking it's gonna click. You know, I keep thinking it's gonna click. Like the guys at Minute Cryptic are doing such a good job, and I, you know, at some point we can talk about social media, but I mean their reels, it makes so much sense. They're done so well. They're short and easy to watch, and I love how they break them down. I know that's a slog to do those videos every day. I hope for their sake that they're batch creating them. But it makes so much sense after you see it. It makes so much sense.
Yeah, once you see it solved.
I think that's how our puzzles are too, where it's like, oh, duh. No, I appreciate what they're doing, and those that have the brain for that are so smart. Good job, everyone.
That's how I feel. So I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yeah, we're a friendly version of those. We'll give you pictures.
I like to think that the puzzle brain would grow for that too. Like I would hope
waiting.
that the more I play, the easier it'll get, but that hasn't happened yet.
I will say I've done, I'm not yet a daily follower of your game, but I played several times, and there are some days where like, oh, I got that in 6 seconds. There's some days where it's 30 seconds. Then there's days like today, like I had to ask what the answer was, and I still don't get it. Like,
Oh,
how is
really?
this? Yeah, how is this Google? I don't understand.
Well,
Okay, I don't know if you guys have the ability to superimpose a picture over here.
Let's see.
Ask
I'm going.
Nate.
Yes, I'll work on that.
Okay, you got a goose, right?
Yes.
How do you spell goose?
Goose. Oh,
Right.
okay.
So you're minus
okay. Wow.
minus the se. You
Yes,
got
I'm
goo,
kind of
and
slow.
your other bird. It's a gull, gull.
yeah.
Yes.
There you go. See,
So you got a
goose
goo?
minus
So I got the
se.
goose minus the se. Okay. Yeah. See. I'm a dummy.
My father had qualms with this one. He screenshotted it to me and sent it to me, and he was like, "That's not a gull." And then he started sending me photos of gulls. I was like, "It is a gull. They are identical." But there are ones like this that are hard to, where I get it. We try really hard to like find the iconography that's like as close as possible to the real thing. But yeah, it's tricky.
And we're still, we're on 146 right now, but this is still in the very early days of like our creative process as well. So some of these puzzles, that have just been, we batched them at the front, right? We tried to start super easy, throw in like some medium ones there, by our standards, just to kind of get the wheels going. So I'm pretty excited for like later down the road when we're like, okay, those that have been playing, like you get it, right? Kind of like the minute Cryptic thing where it's like you get it, so we can kind of get a little more creative here. So we're still in the early phases of the creation, which is really fun to see. Where I'm like, man, we created that so long ago, but also I'm like, we've got some good ones coming. I'm pretty excited about it.
And I think one thing that Angela and I both get excited about is like we kind of like throwing off the player a little bit. So like that one, it was like we loved that it was two birds, but like they're just slightly different. Like it just adds this extra layer of like, what? It's just birds. Like what am I looking at? But it's like there's nuance to it. And so like we'll do ones where there's only like animal iconography, but the answer has nothing to do with animals. It's all phonetic. But like we kind of geek out on that. Like that's stuff that like no one would know. That's just the stuff that we do when we're editing these things where we're like, ooh, how funny would it be if it's all different types of bears or what? Like, I don't know. It's just like a silly extra layer for us.
Well, I'm even a Minnesotan. I knew it had to be a goose, but I still couldn't.
And we gave you two of the letters.
Yeah,
It's
right.
not a duck. Yeah, right. Miriam, I think your dad was like, that's a duck or it's a swan or something. And we're like, but we gave you SE.
Yeah. So it's not a swan,
It's not duck.
Yeah.
Those are the when we can, so we were gonna make Google and two birds. Like that's the stuff that we could never get if we somehow found the right version of AI that was going to spit these out for us. There's no way. And that's something that every single person that we have told about this when we were starting out, they're like, there's got to be AI for that.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like, okay, sure. Let's give it a try. And I mean, like some odd version, well, we've plugged it, it's gobbledygook. It doesn't make any sense. But to reverse that, we have asked ChatGPT, for example, to solve these, which it usually cannot. Sometimes it can, which is really, really interesting. And puzzles that like our friends couldn't even solve. Somehow it got out. Like, man, that's crazy. It's crazy to see that. But no, we're dedicated to making all of these by hand, for better or worse.
No, that's I mean that's what's going to keep it unique, I think, for a solid period of time. Um, so we've talked a lot about like how you create the puzzles, like how your backgrounds influence that. As we were kind of talking before the podcast, it seems like neither one of you are, developers yourself. And so tell me a little bit more about the journey of actually getting the game itself stood up in digital form, and what was your process like on that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been honestly, it's been challenging. There's been so many times where we've been like, should we just take a coding class? Like it's a hard because you see it. You're like, I know exactly what I want, but communicating that is a challenge. But I think in my job, because I work with consultants and clients, and I do some graphic design and web design too. So I have some experience like working with engineers. Um, and because I'm a client facing business myself, like I know the importance of like how to communicate feedback and like be really clear. So we I we designed the whole thing in Figma and like created a prototype. So like in theory, we're like, hey, someone just make exactly this. Like we all the buttons worked, like everything was there. And we found someone through like asking some friends that are in the tech world who was like a freelance developer. And um, he was great. We had like a good groove. And then he had a family emergency and stopped working on the project. And so we were like, well, okay, back to the drawing board. So that was like 6 months lost. And we didn't have access to the source code. Like we had nothing. It was just like, okay, we have to start over. So we started over. This time we were like, let's hire a group because then we don't have, then we'll be covered in case an emergency pops up or whatever. We do that. We pay a lot more. And honestly, I think because our knowledge is so limited in this realm, one, it was hard to, like, you sort of have to blindly trust the person that you're working with. And we, I think to a certain extent, got a little taken advantage of because of our naivete. And we ended up with, we were like, this is a perfect example. So when we first launched, our keyboard was horrible. Some people would still say it's horrible, but it's much better than it was. But that was one of those things where we brought it up to the developers, over and over and over. Can we make the keyboard bigger? Can we make the keys bigger? It's really clunky. Can we fix this? And they just kept saying like, it's impossible. And I'm like, well, I know it's possible, but you're telling me it's not. So what leverage do I have? Like I can't really get this through to you. And so we launched with this terrible keyboard. Number one complaint of all of the people on social media, we issued a survey. Everyone's like, the keyboard's trash, the keyboard's trash, the keyboard's trash. I would have solved this in 30 seconds, but the keyboard sucks. And we're like, we know, like we know the keyboard sucks. And we tried to fix it in advance and we're told that that's not possible. So then we were like, okay, we can't work with that group anymore. So we sort of had to start over again because even though we had the source code, it was done in a way where it made it really difficult for our new developer to edit. And so we basically like started the development process 3 times. And then of course our new developer, who's been fantastic, he's a freelancer, but he's actually feels like he's on our team a little bit. He was kind of like, man, I'm so sorry they did that to you. Like this, he's like, I could fix this keyboard in 30 minutes and immediately fixed it. And we're like, what? Like, so it's just been a lot of that where it was like, it would be nice if we had sort of a tech savvy advocate along the way. And like, we have like my brother is a product manager. We have good friends that are in tech. Like they were all like willing to kind of jump in meetings and help us navigate that. But we also don't want to ask too much of our friends either. So it was definitely a learning curve. I feel like we're in a better spot now, but it's a tricky thing. Even as we're, thinking about these new puzzles and developing them, we're like, man, like I wish we could just do it ourselves. Like then, and researched other indie games, and they're all like, you know, doing it as like a fun side project hobby and spending no money because they're developing it themselves. And we're like, do we really want to spend more to like fix this one thing? Like, how much? We're constantly sort of like trying to gauge, is it worth it? But we eventually will hit a point where we're like, we just got to do it, and then we'll fix it, and then later we'll be like, damn, we're spending too much money on this thing. But we care, we want it to be good. So it's been a tricky journey, but I feel like we're in a pretty good spot now. But I do still wish I knew how to do any of this stuff.
It's not out of the realm of possibility, but as this is our for fun project, our little side quest, like we wish we could do it. And that's not to say that's not out of the realm of possibility, but we all have so many hours in a day, unless you're Taylor Swift, and then you have more than all of us, or Beyonce. Yeah. But
we could do a whole side quest on that. Like how do you like 2 albums during like the most successful tour of all time? Like, come on.
People, teams of people. See, that's the idea.
Billions of dollars.
Both of these things do help. Yes, you're making good points.
Good point. That is a good point. So we don't have billions of dollars, but we do both enjoy what we're doing. So I think like our availability for this kind of ebbs and flows, and I think we're both very understanding with each other about that, because we do we work in tandem. I think we work really well together, and I think if I'm slammed, Mariam's like, that's okay, no guilt, no, that's okay. We both have other lives to live. So yeah, but I think right now we've gotten a good groove. Our developer is so awesome. He's super easy to work with, really responsive, and those are the things that we were looking for that we didn't have initially. So honestly, I'm glad that those other guys weren't great, because there's no way. We would have been like, this is really hard and actually not that fun. So it's important, like if you're not building this, like with anything, if you're not doing it yourself, just finding the right people to work with. But yeah, I think we've got supportive friends, but like Mariam said, we don't want to utilize our friends like too hard. But it's truly been like a huge team effort. So, and I think another part of it was like we started with our big idea. So we're like, how do we build the bones of this thing that is scalable and that we're building it in the right way? So I think kind of where we're at right now, like I think anybody would say that it's overkill. But with where we want to go, and if we could, hopefully we can get there, I think we've got the bones of a good thing.
Totally. So I mean, out of curiosity, if you don't mind my asking, how much have you invested in this so far in the development of this?
I think probably like around $5,000, maybe a little bit more, because we've between like downloading software.
Oh, I was gonna say less.
Well, I think once you do all the we've also like printed out some like marketing material. Like I think it kind of adds up to be around $5,000.
Okay, probably.
Yeah, I think so. It's not a huge amount, but it's when it's just a fun side project, you're like, how much are we willing? We kind of established that early on before we did anything. We were like, how much are we comfortable spending on this thing before it makes any money? And what did we say? Like $10,000, I think, was what we felt comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're not there yet.
Well, as your new friend / not yet your advisor, like that seems like a very reasonable outlay. Like there's nothing that that's real money, sure. But it's like I don't get a vibe of like, oh my goodness, you wasted so much, and it sounds like more the opportunity cost of the time and the wasted time and a lot of that. So, And in terms of, it looks like you've got an LLC set up for this. So certainly seems like there's a desire to, potentially turn this into a bigger business and growing concern. Are you thinking primarily like you'll look at an ad-based model or things of that nature, or how are you thinking about long-term monetization on this?
Yeah. I think, we have heavily considered the ad-based model. I think we're both very particular about what that's going to look like. We don't want to put out spammy junk. We're never going to do that. And I think if it is in a way that makes sense to us, if it's in a way that is like worth doing, we will approach the ad-based model, but I don't think we're there yet. I don't think that, for lack of a better phrase, like, I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze in that regard. I think we would want to get, our usership up, of course, to even make it worth it. Like, we're not going to bother people for like pennies, for like some ad sales, because that just doesn't feel right to us. But if we can do it thoughtfully and tastefully, and of course, we both care a lot about the design and how this feels. So we'll approach that when it feels right, and if we can guarantee that we're doing it in the right way. There's nothing that makes me more sad to when like I'm approaching like an indie game and I'm like, this is amazing, but like, do they not know that there's a half-page ad for some like 1-800 RV rental?
Right.
And I'm like, I can't get around this, and I'm like, I'm so sad. Like you have spent so much time on this, and whether it's in the back end, maybe they don't know, but I'm like, I can't get around this 1-800 RV ad. Like, I'm not interested, and I want to be able to play your game. So I see that a lot, and I don't want us to go there. So, and also the beauty of the format of our game is that every day we're building a bigger catalog. So how can we make our archive playable? Whether that's free to a certain point and then pay to play after that.
We've also talked about like membership models too. Like, you become a member, and then you get access to additional puzzles, or there's different models that we could do to kind of help with monetization. The archive is another idea. We've also got like ideas around like turning this into a physical, tangible card set, or like a deck of cards. Like as we're creating these digital games, we're also thinking about like, how can this grow in the physical realm as well. But I think ads would be great if done well, but we had the same kind of knee-jerk reaction when we started, where we're like, we don't want the like pew 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 pew, like just some messy whatever stuff happening on the screen. Like, we've tried to keep it like minimal and kind of not annoying is really what we're trying to do.
Well, yeah. Offline, happy to, talk you through some recommendations on ad providers and just different ways to go about that.
We need help. We cannot, even just trying to get approved, like through like AdSense. What are we doing wrong?
Yeah, we have no idea.
What are we doing? What are we doing wrong? We've been rejected so many times.
It's such an arduous process, and it doesn't need to be.
Oh my God. We've done everything they want us to do. And they're ominous. It's like the bridge troll. They're like, if you solve my 3 riddles, you will be approved. And we're like, but okay, tell us the riddle. We're like, we're not going to tell you the. Actually,
and there's no context.
I'm not going to tell you.
We'll send you to a forum where other people can kind of guess.
And there you find the riddle. We're like, if you just tell us what we're doing wrong, we can fix it. Yeah, but we will keep trying. Not to say that we'll just slap ads on then, but to pass the approval process would be amazing, because then later down the road, can we do this in the right way? But they don't even want us to, they're not interested.
So I noticed on your site you've got plausible analytics, and we've seen that pop up a lot more lately. A lot of newer games are using plausible. Are you using plausible and Google Analytics, or just plausible? Or
Yeah. We have recently tried to spend more time trying to figure out the analytics, because I think, first it was like, okay, the build and the format, and now we kind of feel comfortable with where we're at and we can kind of let it ride a little bit and now actually switch on our marketing brains. So Google Analytics is confusing to me.
For us.
it's confusing to everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
I've
Thank
had
you.
access for I don't even know how long. I still don't get it half the time.
Oh my God. Why is it so confusing? Like, I feel like you typically, like, the Google suite is, everything's pretty intuitive and easy to use. And I'm like, why is this stumping me so hard? So with the help of a couple other indie gamers that we chat to on Discord, I'd seen that they're using Plausible, and everyone's like, it's easy, just plug in Plausible. So we were kind of running both simultaneously, and yes, Plausible is so much easier to understand, although it is pay to play. So yeah, the difference is, I'm like, oh, that answers all the questions I had. So go Plausible. We're Plausible fans.
Right on. Are you willing to talk about like number of daily players, or any of those kinds of analytics?
I think we can keep it kind of vague. So to call back a little bit to our initial launch, we started with our minimum viable product, like our MVP. That's what we wanted to build. And I'm sure it's a question that everybody that's releasing an indie game kind of asks themselves. It's like, how much do I put into this before I put it out? Because I do genuinely need to know if anyone is interested in this, right? So, we launched with, it's a similar format, except it's much better now. But I think we were like, yes, keyboard. And nobody, everyone was like, I'm never touching that again. That was so frustrating. So I think we started like high, and it was amazing, but we kind of, yeah, the big roadblock that we ran into was keyboard. And that makes complete sense. If people are you're only going to get so many users the first time, where it's like, I cannot even fumble my way through this. Like, I don't want to touch this anymore. And our game is a keyboard. Like, that's it. That's all you're touching. We have the keyboard and we have an enter button, and then on the success screen, there's the back and the whatever. But if the keyboard doesn't work, your game doesn't work. Yeah. So, yeah, I think in hindsight, we wish that we launched and the keyboard was better, because we had so many fresh eyes that I don't blame them. We're like, I'm not going to touch that because it's really frustrating. It doesn't feel nice. So yeah, but I think we've got a good plateau. It's really, really, really fun to see people playing on social media. I think we have really found our groove with Blue Sky. And I know we're not alone in that. I'm so glad that it exists and it's not just scary old Twitter, because new Twitter is scary.
So it's an interesting place. That's a Minnesota word for you. It's an interesting place.
It's an interesting place. Yeah, we're getting like next to nothing on X. But Blue Sky is just, it's like a friendly, like running through a friendly meadow. Everybody's so nice and so supportive, and we're seeing the same players every day. And new players, and people are like reposting her and like, hey, check this out. This is super cool. And that's all we can ask for, just the word of mouth, even though it is digital. I think we've really found our groove in that area. I guess to continue with the social media, like as Mariam said earlier, the algorithm favors faces as far as Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Threads, I feel like, is kind of that middle ground where, you know, they want to be the text-based Instagram. Although I feel like that even they're kind of leaning in like the Reels category a little bit too. I don't know if it's just my algorithm in particular, but you know, it's interesting to work with our product that looks the same every day and it is 2D. So when you have your 2D product that essentially is not changing or evolving or moving, how do we still put out interesting content? You know, because it is essentially flat. So, you know, we can get on TikTok and we can kind of jazz it up a little bit, but you're still just looking at your flat image in a platform and in a form that favors real life, real people, real humans, but we're like, we have a picture puzzle, right? So a little bit of the rub there, and like, again, to bring it back to Minute Cryptic, why I think that they're having success with their reels is because there's human delivering that information. So while Mariam and I are, as you can tell, we're very comfortable talking to each other, like neither of us live to be in front of the camera. And we're not video editors, although there's, you know, so much software that can make that pretty easy. But we're like, do we continue with our 2D product and kind of we understand the traction that that's going to get in the platforms that are not Blue Sky or X or Threads? Like if you want to talk about Instagram and TikTok, we understand that that is not the format that the algorithm favors, but do we put ourselves in front of the camera? Like, is that what we want to do? Do we want to make the brand like our face? Like everybody knows, I don't know his name, but everybody knows like the Minute Cryptic guy. Like we know his face. He's got his lovely voice. He's so good at it. It's so poised and polished, and that's amazing. And the TikTok creators and the Instagram creators that do their live puzzles, you know, whether it's like the half screen or they're solving, however, or the YouTube creators, like however they're doing it, they are putting themselves up for viewing, which isn't necessarily what we really want to do. Do we have to do that? The answer kind of seems to be yes, but we want to remain behind the scenes. Like we want this to remain like androgynous, you know, we want it to just be approachable. Like it doesn't have to be like, oh, we're girls and we make puzzle. Like I want to be the Wizard of Oz. Like I don't want to have to be the face of this. Although, you know, do we throw ourselves on the chopping block to get more views and to get more traction? Like maybe.
One of the strategies that we're kind of monitoring that we've seen some early interest on one of our games, and we're gonna have to look at Blue Sky a little bit more, but we've got it like posting daily to Twitter and to Threads. I still call it Twitter. You know, like here's how people did yesterday in terms of the solves, and like gives a little, it's just text based, but a little distribution of these people did it in like 30% did it in 4 turns. And we were that was the only thing we could tie to as to what a growth vector was on one of the games. So there might, like with a game like this, I wonder, just because like if it was one of you, you'd almost have to act a little bit of like, ooh, what is today? Like,
yeah,
you wrote the puzzle, right? Like,
yeah, we
and
solved it.
You're gonna solve it in. Oh yeah, it's that one. Great.
Yeah,
There's the video.
yeah.
So, but what has worked for you in terms of just getting the word out? What are you noticing so far that's drawn people in?
Yapping.
Yeah, I think
we're yapping on the internet.
The biggest thing, well, many months before we launched, we had told a lot of our friends, and prior to even creating the app, we were posting puzzles on our personal Instagrams just to see if people could get them and like get a gauge. So there was some amongst our friend group and, social circles, there was some traction when we started, and then those people started, like then we're getting screenshots of those people in their group chats with friends that we don't know saying that they want more puzzles and stuff like that. So I think at first it was a lot of just like we posted that we launched on social media, and then our friends reposted that and then sent it to their friends. So like Ange was saying, that first week we had like thousands of plays, which we were like, what? Like, what is going on? And then since then, Angela's been our social media master. She's just like commenting on people's stuff. Like, she's just very funny and approachable on socials. And so she's engaging with a lot of people. We tried, when we first launched, we went onto Reddit and we like went to some forums to be like, hey, like try like new game, and we immediately within hours we were permanently banned from Reddit.
Not even hours. I'm talking maybe 15 minutes.
Like permanent. We got a notification like forever banned, and we're like, what did we do? Like we were responding to posts that people were like, tell us about new games. We're like, we weren't spamming. Like they asked us. Like, I don't know. So
I don't even think we got the notification. There's like, I've tried. I have tried. Reddit does not want us to be there. It's like we've got that red bar across the top that is like internal server error, and that just means like it's a no-go forever. Yes, yeah, it's like you can still go in there and like fiddle faddle around with things, but they're like, they never want you back. You can never say another thing on Reddit, and it really wasn't even hours. I genuinely think it was like 12 minutes.
I know several people who have been truly successful at getting the word out on their game on Reddit. And it boggles my mind a little bit because the allergen to self-promotion there is so high. And I think a lot of that is
not
really
just Reddit.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
Oh man, it's everywhere. Like, yeah, in the other group of gamers, the creator of Puzzmallow, he got us in there initially. I think that was Blue Sky. And like Orbits is in there, Nautilus is in there, Couplet is in there. So everybody's been super helpful. And it's, talking about growth and like to post here and there and everywhere. And we, some forums and the weird corners of the internet that I never knew existed before this would just pop in like, hey, I made a game, and everyone's like, get out, get out of here. And I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, you're not gonna hurt my feelings, but man, they say some mean stuff. So the self-promotion aspect is very interesting, and especially like, digging into all the areas that you can get into that don't cost any money. Some areas are friendlier than others. Weird corners of the internet, scary places.
And puzzlers in particular are like, they're very serious about puzzling. Like we love that. But there's certain like, I forgot the name of it, but there's like some very specific like puzzle forum. I won't. but it's like exclusive. Like and I don't know, it's been a
Will you tell me later?
Yeah.
We can do a trade.
Yeah, it's not like unknown, but yeah, I'm like, wow, people are in here, but I don't know who they are. But yes, very particular about like the exact right formatting and like, there's no extra discussion. Like, none of this is like, you don't have opinions here, okay? It's puzzle and answer. Like, that's hard for me because I'm, yep. But yeah, it's been interesting. So we're getting in the weird corners of the internet. A lot of outreach, newsletters, and, kind of the weird offshoots of like newspaper blogs. If they're posting about other games, like, hey, check out these 10 new games. I'm like the FBI. I'm finding who posted that and what's their email and just like firing off like, kind of cold calling on the internet. It's so nice when you get a response. It's so nice. Sometimes that happens.
We got our first fan mail.
We got our first
Someone
fan mail.
Someone wrote in and they were like, they kind of similar to what you were saying, Erin. They suggested that we allow a feature where other people can see some of the guesses, that the incorrect guesses, because she was like, there ours, like in her friend group, like the guesses are really funny to them and like really silly. And so that's something that we're like, oh yeah, that is a fun idea, because we also don't have exposure to the incorrect answers that people are submitting, which would be a pretty
I would
fun.
love to see those.
Yeah.
We see them on social media a little bit, but then also players are cognizant of the fact that it is a daily puzzle and everybody's playing the same puzzle, and they are all so well behaved that I'm like, no, please, I want to see what your wrong answer was. They're like, wow, I was way off. And I'm like, send us a DM. I really want to know what it was. So yeah, I think everybody's, we've all become accustomed to the daily game where it's like, why are you spoiling it? Like, hello, we've been doing this for long enough. We know, don't spoil it. So, but I really want to know. I do want to know. But yeah, getting the word out there has been, it's interesting. And it is time consuming. Like, I understand where people are like, this is my side thing and I don't have hours. I don't have hours to spend on this and I don't want to be on social media. Like, do any of us want to be on social media right now? No, we don't. No. There's weird things happening out there. Like, I want to be playing outside. So I think when the time allows, we try and keep up with it every day. Like, of course, there's been lulls in the daily posting. My bad. But when I have time, like, I'll poke around and see what other people are doing. And I'm just snooping on all the other game creators. That's been really fun. Kind of figuring out, what's worked for them and what hasn't, and where others have found like, whoa, like this one newsletter was awesome. Like, shoot them an email and try and get in there. And it's a lot of crickets, but sometimes we hear back. And then I'm like, oh, that's really cool, Yeah, so a lot of throwing spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks.
For sure. All right, so I see on the site you have potentially 4 more games coming soon, but in general, what's next for you both on this?
Well, more games. Actually, of those games, like some of them are 2-player, some are group, some are more solo games. And so I think that's our idea for growing Silly Little Games as a whole. Obviously, we've focused on Silly Little Codes first. But yeah, we want to kind of create a hub of a bunch of games that are human created and aesthetically pleasing and like kind of in the same vein as Silly Little Codes. And I would say of those 4 that are listed, we've already designed them. They just need to be developed and tested, and all of that good stuff. But yeah, I think that's what's next for us. Aside right now, like Angela had mentioned, we're sort of focusing on trying to get the word out, get our usership up, figure out some monetization strategies. But then once we feel like that's kind of at least in a trending upward position, we'll start focusing on bringing more silliness to our portfolio.
Yeah, I think like the cool thing about this is that we started with the big idea, and we can approach this kind of one at a time. But what's really cool is that we have so many ideas, and that's how it started. It's not like, okay, one and like, oh my God, what's next? Like, we just need to build it. So that's the hard part. But the ideas are there, and just like this one, we'll build it, we'll test it, And we believe that what we've got is fun. So, yeah.
That's a good start.
Yeah, and that's the fun stuff.
I don't know. For what little it's worth, I think I find this story inspiring. I think the fact that you kind of took a concept and a friendship and found a way to bring it to life. Absent the coding skills, I'd put in a small plug. It's learnable. AI, don't use AI to generate the puzzles. You've got a good thing going there, but maybe test out the AI to spec out some of the game concepts. But this is great. Thanks for being here, Angela and Mariam. What's the best place for listeners to find you online, whether the company or if you want to be found individually? Where would that be?
Well, our game can be found at playsillylittlegames.com. And then we're at Play Silly Little Games on most of our socials. I think a couple of them are a little different than that, but that's where you can find us and play the game. I don't know that I'm sure we're individually easy to find, but I don't really care to be found individually.
I'm not up to much.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But yeah, website, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, X, TikTok, not Reddit.
Not Reddit. Hey, if you can get us onto Reddit, we're open to it. We've been banned.
Yeah, we're on all the socials. If you can find us in one spot, you can find us on most of them.
Thanks so much, Erin.
Okay, thanks so much, Erin.
All right. Thanks for your time.